If you're anything like me and you avoid conflict like it's your career, you may have also struggled with creating real, genuine conflict in your fiction. I certainly have. But luckily for us, fiction is not real life. How do you develop compelling, authentic conflict in your fiction? Today I'm going to give you 4 of my favorite strategies. Let's go. Do you see this tattoo? Don't get me wrong, I like it a lot, but it's about twice as big as I wanted it to be. When the tattoo artist drew an outline of it on my arm with magic marker first, it had honestly looked a little big, but I hadn't wanted to be the difficult client. So I heard myself saying, "Looks great." About an hour later, I took a photo of it and sent it to my husband, who wrote back, "Well, that's not small." I was so conflict avoidant that I got a tattoo bigger than the one I want. Conflict in life is one thing. Conflict in fiction is another. It really can't be avoided in fiction, not even with an oversized tattoo. If you avoid conflict in fiction, your story just, well, stinks. And this is because in storytelling, conflict is the driving force of the narrator. It's the thing that makes it a story at all. If everything in a story is happy and peaceful, we have no story. Let me briefly explain why. A story is a shift in perspective. That's it. Someone changes their take on things. And to change your take on things, you need to struggle. We don't come to new realizations when things are easy and everything's going swell. We come upon hard-won truths when we are forced to examine our current way of looking at the world by struggle. In other words, conflict. Internal or external, both are good, but we want conflict. Another word you can use if you want is tension or friction. Sometimes I say tension. Use whatever word you like, but we want things not totally content and harmonious, at least not for long. So how do we create genuine conflict? Strategy number 1 is to give your protagonist a compelling want. I tell the writers I work with, at the beginning of any story, your main character, also known as your protagonist, needs to want something, and it should be something that they cannot easily get. Now, it can be big or small, it doesn't have to be a major want, but it can be. An example of a big want with high stakes is Michael Crichton's The Andromeda Strain. At the beginning of that story, the protagonists, which in this case is a group of scientists, want to stop an alien virus from infecting and killing the world's population. Okay, saving the world, that's a pretty big want with pretty big consequences, right? But it doesn't have to be so grand. It can also be small. Stephen King says it can be a cigarette. The key is just it needs to be something they can't easily get. So figure out what your main character cares most about in this moment that you're opening the story. Is it a glass of water? Is it some chocolate? Is it the love of a missing father? And then watch what they do when they can't easily get it. Strategy number 2 is to be mean. And I'm only half kidding here. I know we're all nice people. Truly, writers are so kind. I am constantly surprised by how kind the writers who I work with are to each other. It gives me hope for humanity. But for conflict to be compelling, you're going to have to make things truly difficult for your main character. Suffering, or genuine struggle, if you prefer to think about it that way, is at the core of a meaningful perspective shift, which is what we're trying to lead our main character to. So if you're not making things difficult enough for your characters to change, any change you impose on them isn't going to feel earned. I think of it kind of like parenting. If my son, who's 4, is struggling to write a word like pig, and I see that he's about to write the G backwards, I may be tempted to reach out and help him, but I have to resist because it's really important for him to do it on his own, or he won't learn. And this may sound like a silly illustration, but I think, it's true. It's genuinely hard for me not to help when I know I can. And I think we often feel the same for our characters. We want to resolve things for them, but we have to resist that temptation. In order for your characters to grow, they're going to have to hit some rough patches, and not fake rough patches, real rough patches. Now, how can you tell the difference? For me, I know that I have to genuinely be afraid for them. I have to be unsure that even I, as the author, will be able to fix things for them. And that's how I know it's real. I have 2 more strategies for you. But first, I just want to invite you to apply to my program, the Book Incubator. The link is down below this video. It's just 2 questions, takes under 5 minutes, and if you're writing a book, you definitely want to check it out. Now back to the video. Strategy number 3 is to give your character a tough choice. This can be really helpful, especially if you're trying to ramp up both external and internal conflict, because the act of making a difficult choice is internal, but usually with external consequences. So it's a simple yet extremely effective way of tying the 2 together. Giving a character a tough choice can demonstrate what their values are as they grapple with what to do. It can also show how resourceful or determined they are if they try to figure a way out of their sticky situation. But even if they can't, that choice can also show how they've grown from the beginning of your story. Let's take as an example one of the greats, Shakespeare. Hamlet is a play that is all about one guy who cannot make a choice, whether or not to avenge the murder of his father at the hands of his own uncle. The ramifications of not wanting to make a choice get really bad. What's a tough choice your character could struggle to make, and what consequences can flow from that choice, even if they wind up just refusing to make it? All right, my final strategy for you is to explore different ways of achieving your main character's goal. If you have more than one character who wants the same thing, a cool way to ramp up tension and generate conflict is to have them disagree or have the ways in which they're going about it conflict with each other. Remember the scientists in the Andromeda Strain? In that book, the scientists all want to save the world from a destructive virus, but they disagree on how to do it. One scientist thinks a universal antibiotic might work, but another tries to stop him. They also debate on whether they should let a nuclear bomb destroy their facility to stop a worldwide outbreak. These clashes make for compelling conflict as the scientists have to figure out what they should do and try different ways to achieve the same goal. And there you have it, my favorite strategies for creating genuine conflict in your fiction. If you made it this far in the video, I'm guessing that you're writing a book or you want to write a book. And if so, I would love to hear from you. When I'm not writing, my mission is to help writers write their dream books. I love it. I live for it. If you're curious to know more, I have a free video walking you through my exact process for writing a novel. You can get it by clicking below and answering just 2 questions to apply to my program, the Book Incubator. You can get this video whether you join the program or not. There's no pressure to enroll. So just click below to tell me a little bit about you and your book. I'm so excited to hear from you.